I left the relative safety of Sanctuary and ventured once more into the night. The industrial quarter of Meridian was, I discovered, a heavily guarded fortress. Rather than assault it directly, I stole into the workers' commons and began my quest for the Nexus Stone there.
Welcome back to Blood Omen 2. Kain is being very stealthy, even though there's no reason to be at all. But, well, this is the kind of questions that you do not ask normally. And yeah, I save the game here because it crashes all the damn time.
There's more guards about than ever these days.
I seen 2 of the bastards yesterday and 3 today. Ooh, they make my flesh crawl. Can they talk? I never heard them. Why so many of them nowadays?
They must be here for our protection.
Guess what? This dialogue, much like every other dialogue in the game, will have absolutely no consequences whatsoever. It does not foreshadow anything. It's just there, and there it will stay. What happens in the industrial quarter apparently stays in the industrial quarter. Oh well. Oh, by the way, if you have not figured it out by now, I am alone today. Because, as always, reasons. This scimitar, it sucks. Like, weapons in general here suck, barring that huge axe, but this scimitar sucks especially. And I'm not sure if this is the correct name even, because I'm not an expert on bladed weapons. Now that machinery, it serves no purpose whatsoever, apart from, I suppose, moving rocks. And this is an annoying glyph puzzle because you're essentially supposed to guess which one you're supposed to be... I mean, you're supposed to guess which route are you supposed to direct the glyph energy through. God, that was much harder than it should have been. Unfortunately, I guessed incorrectly. So what this did is this opened a door on the 2nd floor of this building. Or is it the 1st floor and the first one being the ground floor? That actually depends on which culture you come from, because in Russia the ground floor is the 1st floor and the 2nd floor is, well, the 2nd floor, and for example in Sweden the 1st floor is the 2nd floor and the 1st floor, the actual 1st floor, is the ground floor. Yes, there was absolutely no reason for you to know that, but why not? Okay, so now we wait, as always, because this is what all these glyph puzzles are. And now what you are supposed to do is not do what I'm doing, but get back there and open that door again. I mean, redirect the glyph energy. And this is some really weird bar. Well, he asked me to taste his blade, and so I did. I contemplated using Fury there for a second, but then I figured that I want to keep it for a darker time. Yeah, this is where I realized that, god damn it, I have to go back down again and do that entire thing all over again. Oh well, this is what Blood Omen 2 is. This is my destiny. From the brown Seraphin Keep, I go into the grey industrial quarters where I flick more switches and I try to break the game again without avail, because the game has a lot of invisible walls to prevent Kain from going where he's not supposed to, and sometimes from where he is supposed to. Unlike many other glyph puzzles, this one is actually properly timed. You will not have to wait for a long time. Yes, you can see it's already almost there. If only the timing was impeccable like this in every single case, it would have made the game, well, not the game, but the puzzle so much more bearable. And another furnace that serves no purpose, apparently. Like, what's the goal of all this machinery other than having moving parts and baths in a room that has two doors that do not lock. And Kain cannot jump into a bath. I tried relentlessly, but then I finally relent.
You hear that?
Hear what?
Sounds like farting below, and then a thump.
Thump.
Like a body striking the floor.
That's an evil kind of thump.
Yeah, I am not interested in listening to that fascinating dialogue. Not one bit. Do you have a feeling of déjà vu? Because I do. Okay, now this is a new breed of enemy. Well, they have a ranged attack, they can shoot you with a flaming arrow from a crossbow. I mean, flaming bolt from a crossbow. They are a bit faster, they're a bit less sturdy, and they have a monumentally retarded, idiotic, imbecilic design. Just let that sink in. Just take a closer look at this and... there's a reason why I refer to this game as a tasteless abomination. There's a reason. And this is the reason. No, not the ladder. The characters. But the ladder is not fun as either. Success.
Were you followed?
These humans never look twice in my direction. Little do they realize their future lord walks among them. Now, tell me of this place.
Umar tells me the Nexus Stone will be found in the main factory beyond the dam. There will be a gondola to take you there. If this is deactivated, you must look below for the glyph to repower it. But be careful of the guards.
Have you any further wisdom to dispense?
I sense the presence of another vampire close by. He may be watching you. I will whisper you again when it is needful.
Once again, I began to feel the obligations of power. To deal justice fairly to all. One day my people would know me again for their lord. But the vampires who were traitors to their kind would know me first of all.
So Kain here speaks of obligations of power as he is crawling through the grey catacomb-like looking industrial quarter and dispatches of these... I have no idea what to call them. Let's call them female warriors of questionable design. FWOQD. FWOQD. Forget I said anything. Yeah, by the way, at times the blood sucking button does not immediately work, so you have to walk around the corpse to make it work. And sometimes I have to switch between keyboards for whatever reason, I don't know why. Yeah, what you have to do is you have to get down, flick a glyph switch, which is a different kind of switch in that it has a glyph on its side, and then get back up. At least it's more entertaining than having to just stand around and wait. But of course, I cannot begin. Yeah, that's how I pronounce it. I cannot begin, I cannot proceed, I cannot go back up, I cannot flick that switch before I have killed everything in my path. And out of my path, because really I'm going way out of my way. And there probably was a better way to say it, but I did not think of one. Because I am me. You know what my excuse is. I always have the same excuse. Not a native speaker. I will keep saying that and keep repeating that until the end of time. And by the end of time, I mean the end of my life, because my life will end before the end of time. And I'm not sure what happened here, and I'm also not entirely certain what it is that I'm talking about. Yeah, like, last 2 minutes were just this switch. And nothing more. This game is too long for its own good. It could have been entertaining if the gameplay was not so slow-paced and so long, because the game, and I have already said that numerous times, and I will keep repeating that, trust me, that the game has like maybe 4 or 5 hours of content that are stretched around about maybe 12 or 13 hours of gameplay that does not substantially change at all ever at any point in time. The changes that happen, they're purely cosmetic, meaning that the dark gift, the combat dark gift, has a different animation. Because, yeah, spoiler, all 3 combat-centered dark gifts, they're essentially the same thing, just more powerful versions of one another. The puzzles, they're all switch puzzles. Even when we get the telekinesis power, it's essentially a switch flicking power. It's just that now the switches are remotely flickable. Yeah. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. Granted, the other Legacy of Kain games, they're also essentially the same crap on repeat, but they are shorter and they have more things on repeat, and the environments are actually different instead of being the same brown and gray stuff all the time. They also happen to be well written, and they don't have this abhorrent, disgusting, horrible 1930s music. Yeah, there is no stealth to be had here. Once again, the mist with no purpose.
What do we have here?
I try to grab, but grabs, and it's another thing that I will keep complaining about. The grabs serve no pattern unless you know for a fact that, by the way, this is awesome. Except for opening after these unblockable attacks, where you have an opening to do whatever you want. The grabs, they will be entirely random. There is no knowing whether an enemy will dodge a grab or not. And by the way, the fact that most enemies are capable of surviving that aggressive animation with this double... Yes. This is so monumentally stupid. I cannot even begin to... Yes. Grammar. Good. And all that was to flick another switch, because why not? However, this time for once we have a distraction during the time when the glyph goo travels along the pipe, so for one we did not have to wait for an eternity. And these watermelon colored mugs contain some unknown bubbly liquid that looks like carbonated water. Of course, instead of proceeding, I do what I do best, which is wanton destruction and annihilation of all life in the vicinity. Because Kain does not like to jeopardize his presence. As before, there will always be an elevator. This one is actually different. This one is not switch powered. Okay, now the next 5 minutes of the video will be spent in this room. So if you want, you can exit right here, because, well, this is gonna take a while. Now, unlike the heavily armored Seraphim guards, these are brutally annoying to fight, and it's not because they dodge everything, but because they do not attack you a lot. The enemies that attack you a lot, they charge up your rage meter or dark gift meter or whatever the hell it is. I don't know what it's called. They charge it up faster because, well, you block more attacks. These, well, female warriors of questionable design, they are going to attack once and then stand back. And this is going to be really, really annoying for a long, long time. And when you combine it with the fact that they have a ranged attack, which the projectile of which travels rather quickly, rather fast, they create the only moment in the game where the player is actually genuinely threatened. Although that will not come up until much, much later. And I accidentally stopped the stopped the footage there for a few seconds, so from this point on it was going to be a little bit distinct, but I honestly don't care. You could probably hear me clicking my mouse. Ladder. Dun 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 dun.
You're finished.
No, I am not. Yeah, this is the reason why you normally want to stand in a block, because it takes even longer. With these, though, unfortunately, you have to do this and break your weapon. Although, actually, now that I think about it, I am not sure what my complaint here is, because you break your weapon no matter what, because its sturdiness runs out as you block attacks anyway. So yeah, not sure what I was thinking there. And this was scary. Okay, now this powerful machinery. I do not understand the purpose of this machinery. Even though we are supposedly explained. Even though the game supposedly explains it by showing us what this thing does. Now what this does, you see that box? It's going to be filled with glyph energy. And rest assured, it is going to take forever and ever. And no, this glyph energy does nothing to Kain. Now this box is full of glyph energy, and it will serve no purpose other than to, well, move Kain forward by opening this door, but I will not be going there. I am doing science here, meaning that what I will do is not only this, but I will try to get into the part from where the box came out, and you, my friends, will have to sit through all of this over again. Where I suffer, you suffer. Yeah. Now have fun waiting for another 45 seconds while that box gets to the other end of the room. This was absolutely not worth it, but I did it anyway. Because I fucking could. Yep. Just chilling. By the way, these boxes, they never come up anywhere else. They do not work in any puzzles ever. They're just here for this. And this will be it. Eat it. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.